Tonight on CTV News at 6, he has a wife and stepson in Cuba.
Whatever happens, I highly doubt in a month or two, everything's going to open up and we're going to be able to travel freely back and forth.
A Sault Ste. Marie man living in Cuba is heading home. The need is there.
Last year alone, we had to turn away 29 women and children just because we didn't have the space. And that is so tragic.
Officials at the women's shelter in Timmins Shores are looking to build a new facility.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us on this Wednesday. North Bay police are investigating a pair of suspicious deaths today after a body was found on Mulligan Street this morning and another was found in the Highway 11 North area. The death on Mulligan Street comes after yesterday's search for a missing 62-year-old. Police are not saying whether the discovery there is linked to the missing persons case, and the missing person alert is still active. The discovery of a second body in the Highway 11 North area is being investigated as a separate incident. The Office of the Chief Coroner is working to determine the cause of death in both cases, and police are expected to remain at both scenes for the next few days as the investigation continues. North Bay Police believe these are separate, isolated incidents and public safety is not at risk. Provincial police in Blind River seized more than $64,000 in drugs and cash yesterday. A search warrant at a residence on Hamilton Avenue netted police more than 400 grams of cocaine, 9 firearms, and a prohibited knife. A 68-year-old man faces 25 criminal offenses, 22 of which are weapons-related charges. An update on the truck fire north of Timmins Shores last night. OPP saying a collision involving 3 commercial vehicles resulted in a fire that police say damaged the vehicles beyond repair. Highway 11 had been closed between Earlton and Timmins Shores due to weather conditions through the afternoon, but remained closed because of the crash. The highway reopened around 1 this morning following an investigation and cleanup. No serious injuries were reported. A 20-year-old has been charged after a stabbing in Thessalon. Provincial police say the stabbing was intimate partner violence. The attack took place last Thursday morning at a home on Main Street. The victim suffered serious injuries and was taken to hospital. The suspect has been charged with aggravated assault. You can learn more about this and all of our news stories on our website, CTV News Northern Ontario.ca. A Sault Ste. Marie man who spends part of his time in Cuba is worried about his family still living in the country that's currently dealing with an economic crisis. We get more from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
They're making it work behind the scenes, but my guess is in a week, everything will be shut down.
For more than 10 years, Robert Peace has flown back and forth between Sault Ste. Marie and his second home in Cuba, where his wife and stepson live. Now he's not sure when he'll return.
Whatever happens, I highly doubt in a month or two, everything's going to open up and we're going to be able to travel freely back and forth.
Cuba is experiencing its worst economic crisis in 70 years, including fuel and food shortages. U.S. President Trump cut off oil shipments and threatened tariffs on any country that sells or provides oil to Cuba. Because of the unpredictable situation, the Canadian government is warning travelers to exercise a high degree of caution in Cuba. Other than repatriating Canadians, airline travel to the country is at a full stop. Travel agents aren't selling the destination known for its beautiful beaches and affordable resorts.
So much of that is entirely dependent upon the geopolitical situation, which is well beyond our control. Right now, they're indicating possibly May, but the impacts to the country, to the travelers, to the people of Cuba are going to be felt for years and years to come.
As for Peace, he's concerned about the family he must leave behind in Cuba and what they may have to endure. He says he's tried numerous times over the past decade to bring his family to Canada, but to no avail. In the meantime, he does have a message for Canadians.
Airlines can't just suddenly refuel in other countries where they don't have fuel contracts, and they can't place Canadians at risk here if things do go sideways, which they literally can in an hour. So let's pray for everybody here. Let's hope for the best, that we can all return safely someday.
Peace is expected to catch one of those repatriation flights back to Canada tonight. And he adds he's hopeful his time away from his second home in Cuba won't be lengthy. Angela Gamble, CTV News, Sudbury.
The Northeastern Ontario Bud car is out of service for repairs until February 21st. The 70-year-old passenger train that connects Sudbury and White River has been out of service since January 28th, with no alternative transportation during the service interruption. Destination Northern Ontario spoke about the northern impact of the longest cancellation of its services yet.
A lot of people use that train in terms of, getting down to Sudbury for, a medical appointment. In the wintertime, there are people who, just take the train and ride the rails. There's certainly some winter tourism opportunities along the line, but the hugest impact to tourism would be during those summer months.
We reached out to Via Rail Canada that said in a statement a strategic maintenance period was scheduled from February 10th to February 20th. Following a mechanical issue that happened on January 28th, Via Rail made the decision to remove the equipment from service earlier than planned in order to allow additional time for necessary maintenance. A women's shelter in Timmins Shores is looking at building and operating a new transitional house for clients. CTV's Eric Tashner explains the project is crucial.
For over 40 years, Pavilion Women's Centre has supported women and children experiencing violence through its emergency shelter and wraparound services. But now it's at a critical point.
Last year alone, we had to turn away 29 women and children just because we didn't have the space. And that is so tragic.
In response to a need for safe and supportive housing, the center is planning to build a new facility to house the shelter and add 10 transitional housing units. It currently has 11 beds to support women and children when they're in crisis.
After that crisis point, they need time to get back on their feet. And right now, what happens is that the housing in our district is incredibly hard to find.
According to Charbonneau, in the last 2 years, around 20% of women who left the shelter were able to find adequate housing in the community. But some go back to their abuser. The Women's Centre is in talks with the City of Timiskaming Shores to acquire a lot on Meridian Avenue to build the new facility. But there are some concerns from residents that City Council should sell the land for the highest possible price, and about the location, including whether an adjacent medical centre would still be able to expand.
We are jammed for space in the medical clinic. Our hope would be that the project moves forward, but with that consideration in mind.
Council is now considering the application and is expecting an administrative report on the plan at a future meeting.
Whether you sell the property and you receive monetary valuation for it, or whether you donate it and receive the services that are being provided, you can't underestimate the impact that has.
Charbonneau is feeling hopeful, and she believes the center has done its due diligence to find the best possible location. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Now to the weather. Light snow and clouds today will give way to sunshine. Here's CTV's Rick Wyman with more.
Rejoice, Tony, rejoice. We've got some sunshine and nice temperatures in our forecast. Our systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada. You can see clear sailing for tomorrow. Temperatures nice, -5, -6 degrees. I wish it was +5 or +6. That'll come eventually, but anyways, we've got some nice temperatures for tomorrow. We also have the chance of flurries on Friday. Then again, more sunshine and some warmer temperatures. We'll take a look at what's happening during the 7-day forecast and a lot more. Current temperatures coming up just a couple of minutes away, and again, a variation from what we talked about the last couple of nights. So that and more all coming up in the next few minutes. Tony?
Thanks, Rick. Still to come on CTV News at 6. We head to Timmins, where the fire department shows off its new fire truck. Right now, we're heading to downtown Parry Sound. This live webcam is courtesy of Northern Creations. It's -3 degrees. We're back in just a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Time now for a look at the mayor's chair. Once a week, we check in with local mayors to see what's happening in their community and some of the situations they're dealing with. Joining us tonight is Mayor Roger Sigouin from the beautiful town of Hearst. Mayor Sigouin, welcome. Bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Gotta start, we were talking a little bit off the air. It's been a year since we've been able to sit down in this long-form interview, and since then, Hearst has received an official apology and a pledge to work together from Hydro One after an incident last year in which there was a loss of power and subarctic temperatures. I'm curious, how has the past year gone, and are you seeing a level of cooperation?
Oh, yes, very well. Hydro is doing a good job, is always communicating with our own PUC in Hearst. And even they always, when something happened, they called me right away. So it's I can't complain.
I love that. Well, the one thing I don't know I could complain about, I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of images of snow from up your way. How is everyone coping?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problem we've got right now on Highway 11, and we're all working together from Timmins, Cochrane, small truck Kapuskasing in Hearst, all the way down to Nepegon, and working and talking with MTO what we should do and to improve our highway.
I love that. That was one of the things I want to ask you about right now is highway safety. And that's a lot of what we're hearing about up with your neighbors that you were talking about in Highway 11. I mean, I know your area recently saw a tragic crash that killed 3. The province is saying it's pledging its support for the 2+1 situation. Is that enough as far as you're concerned?
Not enough for me, because we know I met with MTO in October 21st, and I asked, what's your vision for Hearst region? They were honest with me. They said, yeah, resurfacing, that's all. So imagine the slap in the face I had. And no, we're going to push it. And I want from the government, I want them to tell me a plan in from now to 10 years, because right now they don't have any plan for the Highway 11 or Trans-Canada Highway, and that's not acceptable.
What's the ideal situation you think? Is it twinning?
I think we should go for 4-laning, first of all. Right now, maintaining the highway, it's they improve. I'll be honest, there I went to Timmins on Monday, and I saw a lot of plow on the highway and put salt, but we need more than that. I mean, the banks of snow is about 10 feet high. It's really dangerous, and they have to look at it, because a small car going to the bank of snow, it won't go far. So people are in danger. So we have to do something to improve that.
Lots of exciting stuff happening for sure up there. Mayor Roger, thank you so much as always. The way you talk about Hearst, I feel like I have to get up there this summer for another visit.
You got to come here. Well, you're more than welcome, Ian.
I love it. That's Mayor Roger Sigouin from the town of Hearst. And a quick programming note for everyone. This will be our last Mayor's Chair interview for a little while. The reason being, as the mayor and I alluded to, the municipal election is coming up very soon, and we want you to be able to hear from all the candidates. But you can always go back and watch some of those past interviews we've done on our YouTube feed. Search for CTV News and then find us under the local news in Northern Ontario option. And we'll return to interviewing mayors in this segment later in the year. Until then, don't forget to vote. Tony, back to you at the desk.
Thanks for that, Ian. The Timmins Fire Department is investing in its bunker gear and fire engines. Soon, every firefighter with the department will have carcinogenic-free protective attire. And as CTV's Lydia Chubak tells us, a new truck was just put into service over the weekend.
The Timmins Fire Department has a new vehicle in its fleet. This is a Rosenbauer 43-foot-long aerial truck with a 104-foot Cobra platform. The deputy fire chief says it will be kept at the Mount Joy Fire Hall in the city's West End.
Oh, a huge need. The boom in the west end of town over the past 10 to 15 years, you've seen the development of large, box stores, multiple schools, larger factories manufacturing out this way. So this truck allows us to better operate around those buildings if there were to be a fire. It gives us access to the upper floors, larger structures.
The $2.4 million engine was manufactured in Minnesota, is tariff-free, and was put into service on Saturday.
We used it once for a call this week, which was really exciting. The truck is top-notch, top of the line. Big difference compared to our old aerial, where many items on it were not functioning properly.
The city is also investing in personal protective clothing for all its full-time and volunteer firefighters. Not all of the bunker gear has arrived yet, but 100 more suits are on the way.
It's becoming the trend. Most departments are looking as a way to get there. The way bunker gear typically goes, it's a 10-year lifespan. So if someone just recently bought their bunker gear, they're not there yet. They'll wait till their 10 years is up, get full life out of their bunker gear. We're one of the first in Ontario to fully outfit their department with PFAS-free.
Cleroux appreciates that the jacket and pants are made to measure, in addition to being better for his health.
We're always advocating about staying safe, wearing our mask whenever there's smoke around, and then our old equipment, we were putting it on and it wasn't carcinogen free, so having this bunker gear carcinogen free is really exciting, and it goes with our values.
The deputy fire chief says call volume has increased significantly over the past few years due to encampment fires. Foster says crews responded to at least 100 fires at encampments last year alone. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
A former elementary school in Sudbury is one step closer to becoming a child and youth mental health campus. Last night, City Council threw its support behind the transformation of the old Cyril Varney School. The project would see the school transformed into an 8-bed ministry-funded facility. It will be operated by Compass, the lead agency for child and youth mental health services. It will offer the region's first free voluntary live-in mental health treatment program for youth supporting ages 12 to 17. Compass was successfully chosen as a recipient for the city's Community Improvement Plan, otherwise known as a CIP. The funds will offset project costs associated with Compass's new location and its live-in treatment program.
The city received money, federal money from the Housing Accelerator Fund. And so we're taking this money from the federal government and applying it to this application in particular. So yesterday they got approved for $237,000 for their new renovations at Gary Avenue.
We'll offer several different types of programming, including group programming, individual counseling, as well as family programming to help caregivers with the transition or with the stabilization process or with the transition to more intensive service within the province.
Fraser says Compass is hoping to have the facility open by the end of May. Greater Sudbury City Council also approved the transformation of a downtown landmark, turning a century-old building into a 135-unit supportive housing facility. The motion passed with an overwhelming majority. Council approved $1.5 million in incentives through the Community Improvement Plan, a move that carries no direct impact for taxpayers. 30 St. Anne Road was once a former nunnery and diocese. Now, after a year in the hands of private investors, the hope is to provide housing and support for the city's vulnerable population. The investors are hoping to have the first floor open for residents by the end of next month. Back now for a check on your current conditions. Once again, here's Rick.
Current temperatures coming up there, Tony. Some sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Favorable temperatures, as you can see. Then we've got the chance of flurries moving in on Friday. Then things change again. Milder and some sunshine on the weekend. Let's check out the temperatures this hour. Let's begin in Moosonee, as we always do, -11. Cochrane, some light precipitation, -8. -8 in Timmins as well. Light snow in Cap at -8 as well. -8 in Chapleau with light snow. Wawa, some light precipitation, -7. And in Sault Ste. Marie, a few clouds kicking around at -7 as well. Meanwhile, in Parry Sound, mainly cloudy skies at -3. In North Bay, -6 with the clouds. Few clouds in Temiskaming Shores, -6. And Kirkland Lake, mainly cloudy at -7. Greater Sudbury, -6. A few clouds. Espanola, -5. -6 in Elliott Lake, and Gore Bay at -4 this hour. Tony, we've got a look at what's happening with the next 7-day forecast and a lot more, including our pick of the day. Stick around for that and more, all coming up.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. A community in mourning. Next on CTV News at 6. A small town in British Columbia is trying to come to grips with a mass shooting. And he paved the way for others. We'll meet an Ottawa man who is a trailblazer. Welcome back. You're watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. The investigation continues today after a horrific shooting at a northern British Columbia high school that left 9 people dead. CTV's Kathy Lee has the latest details.
Police say 18-year-old Jesse Van Roetseler had dropped out of school 4 years ago and was known to police.
I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health.
Investigators are still working on 2 crime scenes, the school and the family home.
2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun, were recovered by responding officers. Determining the origin of these firearms and what role they played in the shootings remains a significant part of the active and ongoing investigation.
Without a known motive or a suspect to question, investigators will have to conduct interviews with family and friends to see if there were any signs or clues that Van Roetseler was preparing to carry out something like this.
Quite often people say things and others think, oh, he doesn't really mean it. And then when this happens, they realize he did because they don't always come forward and report what friends say.
Any and all social media posts will likely be scanned, making sure no stone is left unturned.
It could be in school counseling, all different sorts of things that could give them that one little piece of information that says this could be why it happened.
And that was Kathy Lee reporting. Well, Tumbler Ridge is a small community where everyone knows everyone. The town is grieving the victims. CTV's Andrew Johnson now with what we know about those who lost their lives.
A heartbreaking symbol of a tight-knit community in mourning.
This is a deeply distressing incident.
Shortly after 1:20 local time Tuesday, an alert was sent out to residents warning an active shooter may be in the community. The RCMP say they rushed to Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, where at least 25 people were found injured. 6 others, a 39-year-old female educator, 3 female 12-year-old students, and 2 male students ages 12 and 13 were found dead inside the school of just 160 students.
Families are just mourning in their own way. Everybody has their own way of expressing remorse and grief, and we give them their comfort zone.
Police say the suspect, who was found at the school dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, was 18-year-old Jesse Van Roetseler, a resident of Tumbler Ridge. The suspect's 39-year-old mother, Jennifer Strang, and 11-year-old stepbrother, Emmett, were found dead at the suspect's home.
Well, we don't have an idea yet as to motive. And again, recognizing we're still less than 24 hours into this incident, it is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing, but it would be too early to speculate on motive.
Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Tumbler Ridge, BC.
And in light of yesterday's tragedy in British Columbia, a Northern MP has decided to postpone an upcoming town hall opposing the federal gun buyback program.
I woke up this morning, went to my meetings, and so on, and just out of respect for those involved and families involved in the tragedy, it's not a good time to have a town hall.
The town hall was set to feature Jim Belanger and the Shadow Minister for Hunting, Fishing and Conservation, It was originally scheduled for tomorrow night at Club 50 in Chelmsford, but Boulanger says a new date has yet to be determined. The U.S. House of Representatives rejected a bid by Republican leaders yesterday that would have blocked the ability to challenge U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada. Lawmakers voted 217 to 214 to derail the plan that would bar tariff challenges through July 31st. 3 Republicans voted with Democrats to shoot the legislation down. U.S. lawmakers are expected to introduce legislation to repeal the president's emergency tariffs on Canadian goods. They also have resolutions to overturn Trump's tariffs on other countries. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Tony, Eddie Shack was born on this date back in 1937. He was brought into the world with an assist. Yes, we'll give him an assist. Dr. J.C. Bowen, that would be Joe's dad and David's grandfather. So Eddie Shack, born in this date, 1937. Let's talk about the weather now with our forecast radar. We've got sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Nice temperatures, chance of flurries coming up on Friday, as you can plainly see. Then we'll get into some milder conditions and more sunshine. Meanwhile, overnight, chance of flurries right across the board in Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Temiskaming Shores, and North Bay. Meanwhile, in Moosonee, wind chill -24 for tonight. Caphurst, light snow. Wawa, light snow. Light snow, Gore Bay, and chance of flurries in Parry Sound. 7-day forecast time. Sunshine tomorrow in Sudbury, Nickel Belt, -6 your high. Chance of flurries Friday, -1. Warming up, of course, over the next couple of days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Take a look at the temperatures, -1 and +1 for a couple of days. So again, nice weather coming to Sudbury and Nickel Belt. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, mainly sunny tomorrow, -5. Chance of flurries, a couple of days of 0 weather. +1 on Sunday, +2 on Monday, and +3 degrees on Tuesday with the clouds. How do you like that, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma? Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, mainly sunny tomorrow, -6, -4 Friday, -3 on Saturday, -1 on Sunday, 0 for a couple of days. Monday and Tuesday, again, the chance of flurries all 3 days on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You're normal for this time of the year. -7 degrees. So again, when you take a look at some of these temperatures right across the Northeast, really far from being close to the normal for what we can expect for mid-February. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, sunshine tomorrow, -6. Chance of flurries on Friday, -3. -4 on Saturday. Sunday, cloud cover, -1. Chance of flurries Monday, 0, and +1 Tuesday with the chance of flurries. So again, some sunshine, some flurry activity, and above normal temperatures in terms of the mild weather that's about to affect the Northeast is going to benefit all between now and next week. And how about North Bay and West Nipissing? Mainly sunny for tomorrow, -7. Chance of flurries on Friday. Sun and cloud for a couple of days, Saturday and Sunday, -2 and 0. Chance of flurries on Monday at +2. Then +3 degrees Tuesday of next week. And a lot of people will like that in North Bay and West Nipissing. It's all coming, so give it a chance. It all starts off with sunshine tomorrow and some milder temperatures. Let's take a look at our pick of the day for this evening. Yet another owl. Okay, Cindy and Anne-Marie combined on this one. Otter Lake, Manitoulin Island. Yes, we're getting a lot of owl shots this week on our pick of the day, but why not? This is a dandy. Thank you so much, Cindy and Anne-Marie. Keep it coming, so perhaps we'll show your pick tomorrow. Big draw was held earlier today. Coop and Josh from Pure Country 91.7 will have the details on who won what, all coming up after the break.
The Laurentian University Senate has released a plan for students to return to class following the 3-week strike. According to a news release this evening, classes and labs will resume Monday, February 23rd. The semester will run its usual course ending April 30th, and there will be no interruption to Reading Week, which is planned for next week. Sudbury City Council passing a unanimous motion last night calling on the province to act following LifeLab's announcement to close its laboratory in the city. Mayor Paul Lefebvre says he met with a pathologist and senior leader yesterday who assured him there would be no delays in processing, to which Lefebvre says he disagreed. The decision to move medical processing would mean all Northern Ontario specimens being sent to Southern Ontario. It would also mean the loss of 40 jobs.
And certainly we will continue our advocacy with Live Labs, making the business case that they should remain here. If that is not the case, and that's why when I met with them yesterday, I advised them that if they're not able to stick around and to continue this type of service, well, that will just, obviously we will then look at other options. But right now we want to work with them.
Sudbury's motion makes it one of the first out of the gate to call on the province. The Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities has asked other municipalities to do the same. Lefebvre says he plans to meet with senior administration when he heads to Toronto and the PDAC conference in early March. A new program in the Sault Ste. Marie area connects non-profit organizations with willing volunteers. The United Way, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma launched a volunteer initiative called the Day of Caring program. Charities submit project proposals that are matched with volunteer teams from businesses, schools, and community groups who conduct the work. The program runs until the end of the year.
And so instead of doing it, one day, 500 volunteers, 18 jobs, we can kind of roll around and keep it open throughout the year. And then as businesses contact us, depending on what their schedules are like, we can try to pair them with an organization that has a task that may need to be done.
The deadline to submit a project proposal is February 27th. The language of an Indigenous community in Costa Rica has been preserved thanks to Canada College in North Bay. Over the past 3 years, several groups of students visited the Malaku tribe to participate in a cultural exchange. The teams used AI-powered speech and translation technology to document the tribe's language. The preservation project only came about after natural conversations between the tribe and the students.
It came from natural conversations, and shared experiences and built upon relationships. And we made that commitment when we're, as an institution, we do a lot of work around truth and reconciliation, and realizing that the colonial impact in Canada on Indigenous peoples also is, reflected in other countries as well.
The college says this model can be used for other at-risk Indigenous languages. 84-year-old Winston Cumberbatch began working as a bus driver in the late 60s. At the time, he was the only black employee at Ottawa Transit. Cumberbatch was honored recently for being a trailblazer in his community, paving the way for others. CTV's Peter Sperling has his story.
This is the young Winston.
Winston Cumberbatch is part of Ottawa's history, paving the way for others.
And I never thought of that, I just did my job.
Hired as a bus operator in 1968, he's being recognized as being the first black employee of the Ottawa Transportation Commission, now OC Transpo.
At that time, there were no black bus drivers. They were all white.
Born in Barbados, he moved to Ottawa from London, England at age 25. One evening, riding a bus in his new city,
I said to myself, I would love to do that.
He applied and months later was told,
"We have checked you, and I believe you're the one that should start. Our first black employee." And the rest is history.
Cumberbatch says transportation management was supportive.
I felt very comfortable, really. There were some negative situations, but it never bothered me that much, really, because I know who I am, and the way I was brought up by my parents, and I had that confidence that I would be an asset.
Bus driver for the first 10 years, then supervisor for the next 20, retiring in 1998. He still remembers his first day behind the wheel.
This lady said to me, I'm happy that OTC employed a black employee because the city must reflect all people.
Mayor Sutcliffe honoring Cumberbatch at a City Hall ceremony recently.
Very touching ceremony, an opportunity for me to honor him and his family as a leader in our community and as the first black employee of OC Transpo during Black History Month.
At 84, Cumberbatch remembers his time with OC Transpo fondly.
I enjoy that, yeah, meeting people and as a young man, to drive this big bus. And, it was a great responsibility.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
And the winner is still ahead on CTV News at 6. A winner has been chosen for the ultimate dream home in Sudbury's South End. The Canadian Hard of Hearing Ultimate Dream Home Draw took place today in Sudbury's South End.
The winner is James Rallo of Hamilton. He is the winner of the Ultimate Dream Home 2026. Way to go, James!
The winner can choose to keep the house with $75,000 in furnishings and a new Hyundai Elantra, or they can elect for the $750,000 cash option and keep the furniture and the car. And the 50-50 winner took home more than $280,000 in cash. The organization doesn't receive government funding, so this event is a major boost in supporting the hard of hearing in the North.
I feel nothing but tremendous gratitude. I've been living with hearing loss myself my entire life, and knowing that I'm able to, and with the help of so many in the community, make somebody's journey a little bit easier, it just means so much. And I feel nothing but incredible gratitude for people for supporting this campaign and continuing to do so.
James, I hope you're sitting down because this is about to change your life.
I'm standing and I'm shivering.
He's standing and he's shivering, just like us.
Yeah, because I'm pretty much figured out what was going on when I got a stranger calling me.
Well, James Rallo, you are this year's winner of the Ultimate Dream Home!
The Canadian Hard of Hearing Association Sudbury branch also teased a new fundraiser that is similar to the Ultimate Dream Home, set to launch at the end of March. Sault Ste. Marie's Brad Jacobs led Canada's men's curling squad this afternoon in their first match of the Winter Olympics. Before the match, Jacobs was optimistic about the challenge ahead.
I think I cherish that gold medal more and more and more and appreciate it more and more as I get older, because this isn't getting any easier. It's getting harder and harder to win. We want to bring back the gold for Canada and for ourselves and our family and our communities. That's what we're here to do. We know it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough. But the harder it is, if you can actually get through it and do that and accomplish that, the sweeter the victory feels.
And Brad Jacobs and the team are on their way. They picked up their first win in round-robin action today against Germany. CTV's Scott Hurst has results from Day 5 at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympic Games.
A podium finish for Canadian ice dancers Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, their first Olympic medal.
They've been working really hard. They're an amazing pair together. They've been together for about 15 years now.
The three-time Olympians were in third after the rhythm dance. They put down a score of 131.56 in the free dance for a combined total of 217.74, and that secured them the bronze medal. Reigning Olympic silver medalist in the men's speed skating 1,000-meter, Laurent Dubreuil, was one of three Canadians racing for a medal in the event at Milano Cortina. Dubreuil, however, failed to reach the podium this time around, finishing 8th overall. A thrilling finish in the women's freestyle moguls event. Saskatchewan's Maya Schwinghammer reaching the top 8 medal round, putting down a final run score of 77.61. She was just off the podium, however, 5th in her first Olympic Games. Another Olympic final is booked for Elizabeth Hosking in snowboard halfpipe. The Quebec athlete in her third Olympic Games was 8th in qualifying today. The 12-rider final takes place on Thursday. 4 Canadians were taking part in the men's Super G. Jack Crawford, the top athlete wearing the maple leaf, placing 16th in the alpine skiing event, about a second and a half behind the winner. Medals were on the line in biathlon. The top Canadian was 23-year-old Calgarian Pascal Parody, finishing in 24th place. 4-player curling is now underway. Team Brad Jacobs opening up their Milano Cortina experience with a win over Germany. Men's hockey is now officially underway. Canada's first game is tomorrow against Czechia. The women will wrap up their preliminary round in a game tomorrow as well against Finland. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Olympic House is a space that brings together Team Canada athletes, their families, and fans at the Olympic Games. But this year, there is no Canada House. Instead, Canadians in Milan are rallying together to organize their own hangouts and viewing parties. CTV's Garrett Berry joins us from one of those watch parties in Milan.
A friendly invasion, a sea of red taking over this Milan sports bar and making it
Man, I feel like a woman.
The unofficial Canada HQ.
This is an amazing place. I've just got a whole new room full of friends here.
What started with a few WhatsApp messages and Facebook callouts has become an act of some international diplomacy on one of the world's biggest stages.
People see my Canadian flag on my lapel, only the best energy that's given back to me. I'm really proud to be Canadian.
The Canadians are filling the chairs.
We have a lot of Olympic tickets, but we wanted to do at least have one big Canadian game where we would be with a bunch of Canadian fans.
If you see us hanging out here, come on over and say hi. We're making friends, meeting people from all over the country.
They're flipping the channels over to hockey and explaining the rules to everyone around.
I've seen the sport before, but I've never understood it. I've been educated by Jason's, like offensive line and the blue line.
The Italian staff can't seem to get enough.
Love this place, Blues Canal, because we are like to building a place where people can just be themselves, bringing something from their country.
Gabriella told me that her new Canadian customers and friends are always trying to solve problems and really are just nice. Garrett Berry, CTV News, Milan.
To Northern sports now, and perhaps some future Olympians. The North Bay Ski Racing Club was in Sault Ste. Marie over the weekend. Finley Prisco was the star of the U16 with gold medal finishes in giant slalom and 2 Super G races. Grant Park finished on the podium with a pair of bronze medals in slalom and giant slalom, and Lexine Gauthier took third in the Super G. In under 12, Emma Schutt took silver in giant slalom. The next major tournament is in North Bay in 2 weeks. Only one game tonight involving northern teams in the OHL. Sudbury Wolves are in Sault Ste. Marie to take on the Greyhounds. Game time is 7:07 at GFL Memorial Gardens. Unwrapping a much-anticipated sequel, and music legend John Fogerty gets top honors. David Daniel has the latest in tonight's Hollywood Report.
You have unleashed the creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years.
Nearly 30 years after they first struck box office gold together, Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are reuniting for The Mummy 4. The pair starred in 1999's The Mummy and a 2001 sequel. A 2008 threequel did not feature Weisz. The new flick is due in theaters May 19th, 2028.
It is my job to tell every single SAG-AFTRA member about the name change.
Kristen Bell is hosting the Actor Awards, and in this promo she does her best to explain that's the new name of the SAG Awards. The Guild's 32nd annual event streams live on Netflix March 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern.
You may remember 1967 is the Summer of Love in San Francisco, so a lot of musical things were going on.
And John Fogerty has been making memorable music ever since. The Songwriters Hall of Fame says the Creedence Clearwater Revival founder and solo artist is this year's recipient of its prestigious Johnny Mercer Award. Fogerty will be honored at a Songwriters Hall of Fame gala June 11th in New York. Down on the corner in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Ottawa has given Canada Post another $1 billion loan, but the federal procurement minister says the handouts are not a permanent solution. Ottawa's latest repayable loan comes in addition to similar loan in January of last year. Procurement Minister Joel Lightbound says it's essential to ensure the Postal Service has the revenue it needs, but he also says Canada Post needs to transform itself, as Ottawa cannot continue to support the Crown Corporation to this current degree. Canadian company Shopify is the latest to report earnings. BNN Bloomberg's Mirella Fernandez has more.
Shopify reported its highest quarterly revenue ever of $3.7 billion U.S. That's up 31% from the same quarter in 2024. Still, investors weren't too impressed because the Canadian company did miss on another metric. The stock was down over 6% by the end of the trading day. Shopify is an e-commerce company. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.68. West Texas Intermediate is up to 64.46. Western Canadian Select is down to 48.18. And the TSX didn't change much. It lost 2 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $40.99, closing the day at $50.6638 US an ounce. Silver up $3.17 to end the day at $83.94. Copper up 9 cents. And nickel moved ahead 27 cents, ending the day at $7.99 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Thursday weather.
Lots of sunshine in the forecast, nice temperatures. Have a look at the boards right now. Don't forget these temperatures to your right are the wind chills overnight, -18 in Greater Sudbury, -17 in Timmins, -19 in Sault Ste. Marie as well. So it'll be cold overnight, -18 in North Bay, -16 in Parry Sound, and -22 in Temiskaming Shores. So, Tony, as you can see, some sunshine, mainly sunny skies, and some nice temperatures. Again, chance of flurries on Friday, and then we get back to some milder temperatures just in time for the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. With plenty of snow on the ground in Ontario, many are building snowmen, but very few as tall as this.
It all started, I took 2 weeks off work, so I decided to build a snowman. I thought I would finish it in time, and ended up taking over 5 weeks to build.
Meet Antonio. He's behind this huge snowman. He started 5 weeks ago, some days as early as 4:30 in the morning, working till sundown. They use shopping buckets with a ladder to create a pulley system to get up there. This isn't the first time they've used our Canadian climate to their advantage.
I think it looks great. I mean, a lot of hard work into it. Took us just over a month to do that. A lot of hard work, a lot of blocks.
2021, I built a 20-foot snowman and didn't realize how much traffic I was going to get through. So when I finished building this one, I decided to, you know what, let's call the local food bank and see if they can offer me a sign and spread it through social media. And here we are now.
And folks, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Good night.